host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you have to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I have 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I would thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I put stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, guys. Well, thank God. Thank God. Put to bed another season. You weren't quite sure exactly what was really going to happen here. You don't really know. I mean, kind of left, kind of like scratching your head, kind of being bewildered. I mean, is that with the Eagles 37 stringers really? I mean, we had guys injured. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, we really that unbelievably pathetic. I mean, you really didn't know what was kind of going on. I also there was an article even said something along the lines that Giants were kind of trying to throw the game, or right. Yeah, maybe obviously to try to get make sure they keep that good draft pick. And we're going to talk about that a little later in our program here. I really didn't know what to expect, but he came away, I guess in one respect, a little happy now we're picking third, but just, also just a little bewildered, a little disappointed, just also kind of happy that thank God the season's over, but I don't know. It was just some of the stuff that, they put some players in that didn't maybe always have a lot of time. Early on, was it like midfield, 4th down at 7? I guess if you ain't got nothing to lose, I guess you're going for it, I guess. I don't know. Instead of punting and trying to keep their 38th string quarterback down deep, have the hammer punt them, get them down inside the 10, around the 10, if there's something like that, and let them go 85, 90 yards for a touchdown. You give them the ball at midfield. I don't know. All I can say is thank goodness the season's over with. We don't have to deal with any more pain and suffering for quite some time. What do we have? We got about a little over 3 months, and free agency starts. And the Giants will have some money to spend. Okay, but let's not forget, we don't have a quarterback on our roster for next season. Now, I don't know if Drew Lock's going to want to come back. I don't know if we're going to bring him back. We don't even know who the coach is going to be. I have no idea. But let's not forget that, right? Got a bunch of some articles here that were talking about the Giants and everything. Obviously there was the good, right? Malik. And we're going to talk about him and Wandale a little later in our program here. But obviously Malik Nabers is the Giants single season reception record holder. Nabers had at least 5 receptions in 14 of his 15 games in which he played. The most games with 5 or more more catches by a rookie in NFL history, surpassing the former standard of 12 set by Terry Glenn in 1996 and tied by Anquan Boldin in 2003. And when he only played, 15 games. He missed 2 due to a concussion. Nabers finished with 1,204 receiving yards, the 9th highest total in Giants history, and the 2nd most by a rookie. And once again, he missed a couple games. He was only behind Beckham's 1,305 yards in 2014. Now, the thing is with Beckham is Beckham missed like the first, I think, 4 games of the season with a hamstring injury. So, that's what made Beckham's that much. Beckham only, it was only a 16-game schedule. He only played in 12 games and he had 1,305 yards. So Beckham's is definitely, the cream of the crop there without question. Let's see here. Malik had 7 touchdown receptions. So his touchdown receptions tying him with Bobby Johnson in 1984 for the 4th highest total by a Giants rookie. And of course, we're going to talk about this once again with Wan'Dale Robinson. He caught 10 passes. Obviously, once again, we're going to talk about this, I said, a little bit more, but it's the first time in their history the Giants have 2 players who finished with 90-plus receptions, and we still only had 3 wins. Just unbelievable. The Elias Sports Bureau said it has happened over 20 times in the NFL. It last occurred in 2021 when a pair of wide receiver tight end duos accomplished a feat with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Marquise Brown had 91 receptions and Mark Andrews had 107. The last wide receiver tandem to do it was the Rams' Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp had 92 receptions and Robert Wood had 90 in 2020. Let's see here. I guess this whole article was talk about that. All right. Let's see. Tracy, right? They had 1,123 scrimmage yards, placed him 2nd among Giants rookie running backs, obviously behind Saquon. Let's see. Drew Lock made his 3rd consecutive start, 5th this season at quarterback and completed 20. He completed a lot of passes. His percentage was really good, but if you take really. He threw for 138 yards. Let me see. What was that? 45 yards? The touchdown pass was to, just want to say, 45 yards to Malik. Okay. Now, he didn't get sacked. There's another plus. Okay. Didn't get sacked. So he had on 28 other pass attempts. My math is correct here. 28. He had 93 yards. That's like 3 yards a pass attempt. You know how unbelievably, absolutely fucking pathetic that is. Other than you take that one away, the one pass attempt away, right? He threw the ball 28 times for like 92 yards. What did I say? 92, 93 yards? 93 yards. That is unbelievably horrible. Absolutely horrible. The running game wasn't bad. Ran the ball 25 times for 100 yards. 4-yard carry. Not bad. Our run defense was good, right? We held them. Obviously, this is shocking, but that just goes to show you their offensive line, right? They rested some guys. Obviously, Saquon wasn't in there, so they ran the ball 25 times for 51 yards. Very, very good. Very, very impressive. It's just that Tanner McKee, he threw the ball 41 times and got 269 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He was sacked twice. But it was just like talking about frickin' dinking and dunking. It's like, holy cow! Once again, it kind of makes you don't even you don't know if what the Giants were trying to do, if they really were trying to throw the game or not or whatever. You don't know, because obviously if they would have won, let's see, do we have it here? I got it here somewhere. Thought I do. Pick number 3. I'm gonna pull up. All right, let's see. NFL 2025 draft order. Okay, we'll go to Tankathon. Because you do that, it pops that stuff right up there. So we'll go to Tankathon, and this will let you know what the Giants would have picked if they had won the game. With the Giants' 554 winning percentage, the Giants would have won. They would have had 4 wins. They would have moved down. They would have been in 7th place. So they would have gone from 4th down to 7th if they would have won. So there would have been some. I mean, with the Giants on a prime position, really good position here. What they need to do is figure out, obviously, once again, we don't even know, just the stuff I'm hearing and all. Seems like Shane is coming back. Dable might not. We'll find out tomorrow. Right? We'll find out. But they got to figure out, if one of those quarterbacks falls to them, are they worth pick 3 in the draft? I mean, these guys, I mean, because if they ain't and you pick them, you pretty much sign your own death wish, death warrant. I mean, it's like, I want to get fired. Here's my signature right here. Just fire me in another year. Right? So, I mean, if they're not, those guys slip or they get, the one thing is that the Patriots did fall out, okay, of the running. Thank you, Patriots. Thank you. I mean, the Bills, I think they had their 87 stringers. It didn't matter to them. They had their 87 string players in there too. So, I mean, the Patriots won. Good for them. But, I mean, so the two teams in front need quarterbacks. Well, probably could use quarterbacks, meaning, if you look at, I mean, obviously, I'm sure the Titans, right, could use a quarterback. But with the Browns, I mean, they restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, right? So if they would have let him go or something like that, I think they could ease the pain of not taking a cap hit of like $352 trillion in 1 year. I think they could break it up a little bit, maybe ease the pain. It just, once again, just goes to show you how absolutely, unbelievably, absolutely stupid it was to sign a guy to a fully guaranteed contract. Yeah, Sean, yeah. Oh, sure, yeah. You get all those happy endings and all that. Sure, oh, yeah, no, we're not worried about that. No, you getting in trouble with the law. No. Matter of fact, we're going to give you $500 trillion a year, fully guaranteed. Boom. Huh? Come on, baby. We got you. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievably pathetic. But, I mean, quite possibly they'll be in the market for a quarterback, too. So you're not sure. Once again, we'll find out. I mean, if Shador and Cam are that good or whatever, they might go 1-2. But then that would open up. I mean, there's a lot of good players there for the Giants. A lot of good players. And, whether it's a tackle, a cornerback, a defensive lineman, or a wide receiver, the Giants could use any of them. Right? They just have to take the best player available. Right? I would like to go defensive line, but if they think the cornerback, I can't remember the guy's name, from Michigan is that much better than the defensive line, you take the cornerback. If the offensive tackle is at 1 or 2 of them is that much superior than the other guys, take the offensive tackle. With the Evan Neal project, I mean, get the out of here. You're either a guard or you're gone, brother. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, the guy was injured again. It's like, I mean, I can't even talk about the guy. It's unbelievable. You got Illuminor for 1 more year, right? We need a tackle. Whoever the bad guy, I mean, if one of those wide was the guy from Arizona, I'm an idiot. I don't follow the college ranks that much. I'll know him by the draft day. Don't get me wrong. But the guy from Arizona or Hunter, if he's there, right? Whoever the next highest ranked guy is, just grab him. Because, I mean, if it's a wide receiver, I mean, what are we doing with Jalen Hyatt? We traded up to get the guy. We spent 2 draft picks to get the guy. Can he run a route? And Darius Slayton, is he going to come back? Probably not. But, I mean, if one of these wide receivers is all of that and a bag of Doritos, grab them. Right? We're going to talk, once again, I'm going to talk a little bit down our road here, portion of our program, about Malik Nabers and Wandale, right? But, I mean, if you get another dog of a receiver, right, and then you got Wandale and then you got Malik, I mean, that's a nice threesome right there, right? So, wherever the Giants, whoever falls to the Giants will be in good position for that. I'd have a hard time believing unless one of those quarterbacks falls, just say, to the Giants, and the Giants start fielding calls, right? And somebody wants to move up and draft Shador or one of those guys. Maybe the Giants move back a little bit. Maybe. I mean, but that would help the Giants out if somebody, there's not that heavy of a quarterback class. So I can't, it might be kind of a little tough to think that actually somebody would want to call up and swap with the Giants if one of those quarterbacks were there. But stranger things happen. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, so Tracy, fifth round pick, very solid. We could use a running back. I wouldn't be bummed out if we drafted a running back either. Right? I mean, we don't have to get the guy from Boise State in the first round, but I wouldn't, beef up the running back room. Right? I ain't got a problem with that drafting a run. I mean, obviously not in the first or second round, but or taking that guy from Arizona or Arizona State. Whew, that guy look good too. But he Drew Lock made his third consecutive start, fifth this season at quarterback, completed 22 of 29 for 138 yards. Kayvon had a season-high 1.5 sacks, and Burnsy had half a sack of Tanner McKay. Burns finished with 8.5 sacks, half a sack behind Pro Bowler Dexter Lawrence, who led the team despite missing the final 5 games with an elbow injury. Linebacker Deontay Johnson, right, who made his NFL debut on special teams last week, played defense for the first time and led the Giants with 10 tackles. Go right, baby. Graham Gano. Now, the weird thing is, let's see here. I got to hear somewhere here. Yeah, see, ESPN had him with 11 tackles, 6 solo. And then, excuse me. Now, in this article, they said he had 10 tackles, but ESPN said he had 11. So, Graham Gano kicked the season-long 53-yard field goal in the fourth quarter for the Giants. Final points of the season. His previous long was a 50-yard against Minnesota. Joseph played in only 5 games for the Giants, but led the team with 45 points and 13 field goals. Nabers was second with 44 points, including 1 2-point conversion, and Gano was third with 42 points. All right. Gano also kicked a 35-yard field goal and an extra point of 7 points, increased his 5-season Giant total 420, moved him past Tiki Barber. Nice. Giants executed a successful fake punt when safety up back Dane Belton caught a Casey Kreider snap and ran for a 10-yard gain on a 4th and 3 in the second quarter. I mean, truly, the Giants had nothing to lose in this game. Truly nothing to lose. It was the Giants' first fake punt since 2021 against the Chargers when they were losing by 812 points. The Judge era. Let's see here. It was only the only career rushing attempt for Dane Belton so far. Let's see. The Eagles took a 7-0 lead in the 6:51 left in the first quarter. When obviously the 38-string Tanner McKay threw a 15-yard touchdown pass. Philadelphia is the 4th Giants opponents to score a first possession touchdown this season. Giants were 3-7 in regular season games in which the opposing team scores a touchdown on its opposing possession. Let's see here. Giants trailed at halftime, 10-0. It was the 4th time this season they did not score a first half point. I mean, You go back the last couple of years, it's just like the slow starts the Giants had. I mean, we're down to, just we get shut out in the first half of the game against a bunch of backups. It's just unacceptable. Tyre Phillips started right tackle in place of Evan Neal, who was inactive with more injuries, with a rib and hip injuries. It was Phillips' first start since December 31st, 2023. With Phillips in the lineup, now, once again, this is another kiss of death. Giants used their 10th different starting offensive lineup combination this season, tying them with New England for the most in the NFL. And also, it was their 2023 total. I believe they had 10 as well, too. It's a kiss of death. 10th different starting offensive line. And there's no cohesion there, right? It's just a kiss of death. They tied them with New England. And what happened to New England? They stunk. And not only that, they stunk, but they fired their coach. Right? Offensive lineman Greg Van Roten and Bernsey were the only Giants to start all 17 games. Van Roten played all 1,126 offensive snaps. So that was he wasn't a Hall of Famer, All-Pro, not like that, but he was a very good pickup. Very cheap, and he played every freaking snap for the New York Giants. Thank you, Van Roten. Great job. Thank you, brother. Thank you. You're a little bit of a shining light in this. And same thing with Bernsey. Bernsey, I'll tell you what, man. And now, obviously, I guess now that Daniel Jones is not on the roster anymore, Bernsey is the highest paid annual, right? Because he's making more than Sexy Dex and Andrew Thomas. And, but I'll tell you what, we paid what, I can't remember, was it 28 million or 29 million a year for Bernsey, but I ain't got no problem with it. You got yourself somebody who just wants to go out there and play football and plays week in and week out. I hopefully the guy stays a little healthy next season, right? But he did a very good job. Gutted it out on an absolutely freaking pathetic football team. All he did, he brought his lunch pail with him every day, every game, went out and played his heart out. So fantastic pickup by Joe Shane, right? Fantastic pickup. We brought in somebody, who didn't mail it in halfway through the season because he looked around and was like, man, we blow. I can just mail this in. He didn't do that. He earned his pay. So thank you, Brian Burns. I can't wait to see you again next year, brother. Thank you. Here we go. Let's see. Obviously, the Giants had a whole bunch of inactive players. But with the Eagles, with the number 2 seed in the NFC playoff security, Eagles placed 11 starters on their inactive list. With the loss, the Giants moved up to number 3 in the first round of the draft. Giants' streak of 7 consecutive pregame coin toss victories ended. Ooh. This is just, their opponents are set. It's just unbelievable. It's just straight up absolutely. Let's almost give the worst team in football, okay, with their schedule for next year, their home schedule. Let's give them almost the absolute most unbelievably, absolutely pathetic, hardest schedule ever known to mankind. We'll make it where they don't win a game. It'll be interesting. We only got 8 home games next season. Let's see if we go 0-8 next season at home, right? It's just I can't believe it. It just, the Giants' strength of schedule was like 5, whatever, something like it. You look at the Eagles' strength of schedule, it's like 4 something. It's like they had one of the easiest schedules in all football. The same thing with the Giants. The Giants are like picking 3rd in the draft, and their home schedule is just, they got to play. Okay, they got to play the Cowboys. Now, if Dak comes back, we just can't beat the Cowboys at home. We have a hard time beating the Cowboys at home, period. Then we, of course, got to play the Eagles. Then we got who won the division and are in the playoffs. And, if the Cowboys get a decent coach next season, they might be in the playoffs once again. Then we got to play, of course, the Commanders, who are in the playoffs. Then we got to play Green Bay. That's right. They're in the playoffs. Then we have to play Minnesota. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're in the playoffs. Then we got to play San Francisco. They're not in the playoffs, but last year they went to the Super Bowl. They have a stacked roster, right? They had a bunch of injuries, which really derailed their season this season. But the 49ers are a force to be reckoned with. Then we got to play some team at home by the name of Kansas City. Last time I checked, they were pretty good too, right? In the playoffs. And then we got to play the Chargers. Yeah, that's right. They're in the playoffs. I mean, how do you think the Chargers feel? Aren't they? They went from, what the heck did they go? They went from, I think, 5-12 last season, bringing Harbaugh. What were they, 11-6? Not bad, huh? Not too shabby. I mean, that was a tough division too. I mean, because the Chiefs and the refs, okay. I mean, they rested all their players today. I think they had a bunch of kindergartners out there against the Broncos today. So I'm not even counting that one. I'm not there. So in their first 16 games, they were 15-1, right? And then it goes to the Broncos, obviously. So we got 3 teams from that one division, I think, made the playoffs. So that's a tough division. But, just tough schedule for the Giants. All right. And I got some other stuff here to read. We got that from New York, SI.com. Weekly report card. The Philly flop, it's called there. On offense. Giant offense came crashing back down to earth after last week's scoring fest with only one Drew Lock pass, a 45-yard touchdown pass to receiver Malik Nabers. Yeah, made a nice move and obviously tiptoeing down the line and got the ball right inside the cone there and across the line and all and everything. So, and that was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Otherwise, the Giants only mustered 100 rushing yards on 25 carries and only 138 receiving yards. Giants converted 28.6 on their third down attempts, which is absolutely horrible. Basically, a little over 1 out of every 4, which is absolutely horrible. And they converted 50% on their fourth down tries. Red zone, forget about it, right? They had the 1 attempt, no conversion. All this against the solely Eagles backups. The defense. This was a mixed bag. At times, quarterback Tanner McKay moved the ball down the field too easily. Jahan Dotson led the Eagles receivers with 94 yards on 7 catches. 2 late game penalties, a neutral zone infraction by outside linebacker Boogie Basham, freaking idiot, on 4th and 3, and a roughing the passer call on Kayvon on 3rd and 11 allowed the Eagles to extend their final scoring drive, leading to a Jake Elliott 32-yard field goal with 51 seconds left. Speaking of penalties, Drew Phillips jumped early on a tush-push play to give the Eagles a free first down. I mean, they might have got, and the Eagles are ramming their own, let's see, how do you put this? In Philadelphia, Eagle players ramming male players in their own tush. They're very good at that. They're the best in the league at that. If you know what I mean, pushing another man in tush. They're the Tom Brady of that. Nobody's any better. So, I mean, without the Drew Phillips, I mean they're so well at pushing another man's tush. They probably would have got the first down anyway. They're unequaled in that department there. The good, there were 2 sacks, which was absolutely pathetic against a bunch of backups, including 1.5 before I talked about that. Throwing 8 quarterback hits, 4 tackles for loss, and 5 pass breakups, and it wasn't a total disaster. Special teams. Other than the Isaiah Rodgers 51-yard kickoff return, the unit had a decent day. The Giants whipped out a fake punt that got them a first down where the ball was directly snapped to Dane Belton. A nice play design and even better execution. The Giants have found a returner in Amir Smith-Marset, who finished with 12.5-yard average on 2 punt returns, 0 punt return yards by the Eagles, which is fantastic, leading to a Jamie Gillen average 40-yard net average. Graham Gano hit both field goals. Coaching. As it has been the case most of the season, the play calling was a head scratcher again, considering this team told us they were aiming to win the game. Why go for it on fourth down at midfield and then later on a similar spot go for a field goal? Why run plays closer to the goal line that are slow to develop? You can't do that. Speaking of play calling, why have Brian Burns cover a tight end? And why not bring the pressure earlier in the game if the goal was to win it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, not there and I didn't, all that stuff. And if I could move my legs. But, I mean, you go against a 38 strength quarterback. I mean, pressure. But it's one of those things. It's just like, they have absolutely nothing to lose. But I was kind of like, I mean, in midfield, I think it was 4th and 7, and you're going for it. So then, of course, you don't get it, and now they only have 50 yards to go instead of having the hammer, try to drive them down, keep them down deep, get it down around the 15, maybe the 10-yard line, just something nice and high. The guy runs, right? Give him one of these, right? He catches the ball, boom, at the 13. Right, now the Eagles got to go 87 yards instead of 50. A lot of head scratching stuff. But I mean, it's just thank goodness the season is over. To talk about this stuff anymore. All right, so with all of that, I mean, obviously there was the good to come out of it, right? Yeah, that's obviously because the Bills had backups in there galore. Because once again, I mean they were locked in. They were like the Eagles. They both had 3 losses going in. The Bills lost. It didn't matter. The Eagles won. It didn't matter. But the Patriots went out and they actually won the game. They beat the Bills backups, unlike the Giants who lost to the Eagles backups. But thank you, Pats. Now the Giants moved up to number 3 in the draft. So we were talking about this a little bit. They got, they're in prime position. The thing is that, we don't even know. We don't know what's going on here with Dable. I mean, it's, it's one thing to lose, but some of the games just totally getting blown out. It's like you don't even belong on the field with some of these teams. I mean, there are other coaches out there, who could, even if their team is outmanned, like get them to get a good fight going and get their players, to play a competitive game where they're not getting blown out and all and everything. And it just wasn't the case. I mean, just sometimes the Giants just didn't look like they belonged on the field with some of these other teams. The Eagles being one of them. I remember the 28-3. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Eagles have a very good team. Only scored the 3 points, but some of the games we just didn't look like we belonged on the team on the field with some of these teams, right? So we're not sure, right, what's going to wind up happening as far as the quarterback. But you got to make sure that when you're picking number 3 overall, if one of those quarterbacks falls to you, who knows, they got to be worthy of that 3rd pick. I mean, because if not, you're reaching. You can't do that. You need to find somebody to pick number 3, right? Who is as much a stone cold lock as you humanly possibly can get. Now, you listen to all these other, about, as I said, I can't remember the guy's name, but the cornerback from Michigan, supposed to be really, really good, right? I said there's the defensive lineman, there's Graham, I think it is, from Michigan. Wink had some good players to work with. He had some good players to work with. He's supposed to be really, really good. As a couple wide receivers who are really, really good. Some tackles. I mean, whoever they think at number 3, basically it's pretty much like take the best player available. who at that particular spot, because you want like a plug and play player, right? I said if we can get a plug and play, that cornerback from Michigan, put him in there at cornerback number one, maybe move Banks over to number two, right? We got Phillips in the slot. You can have Banks and Flott battle it out or something like that, but we need a cornerback who can step up and play against the big boys, right? We don't have that. I mean, we got Phillips in the slot or whatever like that, but we don't have somebody that can go up against one of the dogs on the other team and battle with them. We need that. We need that, right? I said if we can get that, we got our slot corner, right? So we have those two. I said between Banks and Flott, hopefully one of those guys can. I mean, Flott had a nice season this year, but he gets beat up all the time. He's always injured. I mean, maybe if Banks gets demoted, shall we say, to to the second, to the other side of the field, where he's not covering the number one wide receiver, maybe that might light a fire underneath him and help him play a little bit better, a little sense of urgency. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I said there's a couple tackles in the top 10. I mean, that's what the Chargers went with. Of course, they have a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But that's, they took a tackle. I said we have Illuminor for one more year. I don't know if we have a tackle on this team, other than Andrew Thomas, who can maybe plug and play. Right, so if there's one of those tackles, I'm taking one of those tackles, putting him in there. Illuminor, you tell him, look, you'll be our swing tackle because he played both right and left. Right, we'll put you in jumbo packages as a tackle. Right, you'll be our swing tackle. Right, because we need a tackle, and also not only so much that for the right tackle, but I mean it's like past 2 seasons, Andrew Thomas has missed 18 games over the past 2 years. Is he starting to break? Is he starting to wear down? Is he starting to fall apart? Who knows? Wide receiver, right? Pick number 3. There's a couple wide receivers there. Yeah. Is Darius Slayton going to come back? Is Darius Slayton going to want to come back? I mean, he didn't have, let's see. He didn't have obviously, once again, we're going to talk about the Wandale and Malik effect, right? Yeah, just in a few minutes here. But, Slayton, what did he wind up with on this season here? He had 573. How many did he have? I know he didn't have much here today. Oh, he didn't even catch a pass. Didn't catch a pass today, so he had 573. So so his it came down. I mean, he's usually getting. Because between oh my God, hold on, let me see here. And this wasn't even including today. Malik Nabers and Wando. Oh my God! Oh my God. There was over 300 targets to Malik Nabers and Wandale Robinson. There was over 300 targets between the two of them. So that's just going to cut. And Darius, I'm sure, is going to want to play someplace else. Slayton, didn't have a very successful season with the Giants. So he may not want to come back. The Giants may not want him back. The Giants may not want to pay him. Darius is going to want to go someplace where he can get paid. So if you got between Wandale, you got Malik, and you grab a dog of a wide receiver. You got 2 number 1 wide receivers and Malik. Wandale Robinson. That's a nice threesome right there, right? Said the defensive lineman, right? There's a couple. I think the guy's name is Graham from Michigan. Get somebody next to Sexy. We need a defensive lineman now. Whether if you don't get the guy in the first round, it all starts in the trenches, right? Right, starts in the trenches, right? Let's get somebody next to Sexy, right? Who can really, right? We have Kayvon, we got Burnsy, we have Sexy, and then let's get somebody else. Now, as I said, you don't have to grab a Sexy in the first round, right? A defensive lineman, but the Giants have done very well in the second round grabbing defensive linemen. You go back to Dalvin Tomlinson, Jonathan Hankins. The problem is, I said, you go all the way back to Cornelius Griffin, all the way back to 2000 from Alabama, took him in the second round. And you go at first and second round picks that we've had at defensive line. We've had some pretty good ones. Right? We've done pretty good. The problem is that a lot of times what the Giants wind up doing, right, is they'll get a defensive tackle, right? They'll draft them in the second round, right? And they'll have them for 4 years, and then it's like, see you later. We don't want to pay you, right? And Hankins was good. Dalvin Tomlinson was pretty good. Of course, then we took Sexy, but you took B.J. Hill. Right? I think he might be a free agent. He might be a free agent. That might be a name to keep an eye on. He's not going to bust the bank, right? But he was a good pick, and of course we traded him for Billy Price. I think we had Billy Price for the one season. That he's gone. I don't even know if he's even in football anymore. Of course, B.J. Hill was just keep playing for the Bengals, doing pretty well. He had a great game this year against us, right? Against his former team. But, we get these guys, we get these good defensive line, because once again, it all starts in the trenches. If you can control the trenches, you got a really good chance of winning a football game. Of course, it also helps to have a quarterback. I get it. But it starts in the trenches. And a lot of times we get these guys, we draft good defensive linemen, we get them we trade them away, or we get them for 4 years and we just let them go. We don't re-sign them, right? Now, I can kind of get it where you don't want to re-sign them. Like if you have the defensive line the Giants have, you're paying Burnsy like $28 or $29 million a year. You're paying Sexy Dexy over $20 million a year. Kayvon's getting paid. He's going to want to get paid. We need to maybe pick up his fifth-year option next season, before next season starts, right? So I mean that's going to, So I mean, I can see it. You don't want to pay, half your salary cap to your defensive line. I can get it, but it all starts in the trenches. So, I mean, if there's a defensive lineman, if that guy is that good, get him, right? So the Giants are in a really prime position here. Really, really prime position. I said, even if the Kent Ward and Shedeur Sanders don't even go in the first two picks, right? And they slide to the Giants. If the Giants just pass on them, right, and take somebody else. Because I said, the one thing you don't want to do, I mean, is reach. You got to make sure these quarterbacks are worth it, right? And as I said, once again, we don't even know. We'll know him hopefully maybe 24, 48 hours if Dable's with us or not. But as of right now, he's still here. So we'll have to wait and see what Mr. Mara is going to want him doing. But you got to get yourself a quarterback. But as I said, you take Shedeur or Cam if they're not worthy of the number 3 overall pick. You're almost signing your own death warrant there. So, okay. So now what I want to do is talk about, they had a lot of targets, a lot of targets. I got to find there. But I mean, this is, for the Giants, this is really very impressive. So between Malik and Wan'Dale, they had 202 receptions on the season. Now, of course, Malik set the record, right? He had, Wan'Dale had, I think it was 83 going in. Yeah, he had 83 going in, right? He had 10 receptions. Okay, so he had 93, but he stayed healthy, right? He played in all 7. He only started, I think 8 of them. So a lot of the games he didn't even start, but he played in all 17. He had Malik had 93 receptions. Wan'Dale had 93 receptions. Malik had 109. So Malik set the record, and Wan'Dale had 93. So between the two of them, 202 receptions on the season. So that's a nice pair. I said, I mean, you can almost imagine, right? If we would maybe grab another, or as I said, if you're going to grab one, grab one. There's some good ones coming out. Grab another good one in the second round. Right? You don't have to take number 3 overall, but you can certainly see where we could use another good wide receiver. That would help even open up stuff even more. But between the two guys, 202 receptions between the two of them. But, I mean, I said you also look here. Now, going into the game here, Wan'Dale Robinson, he had 129 targets. Does it say how many targets he had? I don't think it did. Oh, yeah, it did, yeah. Okay, so he had 11 targets. All right, so Wan'Dale had 11 targets. Wan'Dale had 140 targets on the season. So what is that? So he had averaged about 8 targets a game. He averaged 2 targets a quarter. Okay, so that's a nice amount. Malik Nabers had 162 plus what? He had 170. Okay. So it was 170 and 140. So they had 310 targets. It's a lot of targets. Now the Giants threw the ball. So they had well over. I mean, the targets 526 with like 5. I mean, they had like well over half the targets. Those two receivers, they had like maybe 60% of the targets. I didn't figure it out exactly, but they had about 60%, maybe even a little bit more of the targets. So they had a lot of targets, a lot of balls being thrown their way. The problem is that, I mean, you look at Wan'Dale Robinson, right? I mean, he averaged on a reception 7.9 yards of reception. Malik Nabers was he averaged 11. Now, of course, that might have gone up a little bit. Well, maybe not. I don't know. He had 5 catches for 60. He averaged 12.8. No, so he averaged a little over 11 yards of reception. You kind of hope that maybe with him, Malik, to get that number up there a little bit. But, I mean, Wan'Dale averaged like 8 yards of reception. Okay. All right. I mean, it's nice to have one of those reception leaders. I'm not reception leaders. Receiving threats. Somebody who gets open a lot, right? Maybe a chain mover, right? But obviously, also too is Malik broke the Giants receiving record. Obviously, Steve Smith had 107 receptions in 2009. And Malik, thankfully, got his receptions. So he's up to 109. Now, let's not forget, he did miss 2 games as well, too. Now, of course, it's sometimes you're not always comparing apples to apples and all that, because you're comparing Malik's, rookie season with somebody else's, and somebody, like Odell Beckham. But Odell Beckham, his season was a 16-game season. This is a 17-game season, but also Odell, right, who had 91 receptions, missed 4 games. He only played in 12 games, right? Malik played in 15 games. Malik played in 3 more games. Now, at the rate that Odell Beckham Jr. was catching balls back in 2014, had he played in 15 games like Malik did, Odell Beckham Jr. certainly might have had at least 109 catches. Right, at the rate he was going. He certainly had the yards, that's for sure. But, Malik had well over 1,000 yards receiving. And then also, let's not forget about it also with Tracy, too. Right? So between, Malik and Tracy, it's just the 3rd time in history, right, that a pair of rookies, came in and both had 1,000 yards, 1,000 all-purpose yards between rushing and receiving. The first time was in the AFL, though, in 1960. 2 running backs did it. They both wound up with over 1,000 yards, 2 running backs. And then, of course, Marcus Colston and Reggie Bush did it in 2006 with the Saints. But, of course, they hit Drew Brees. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing the ball. Giants, let's see here. Let me think of the Hall of Fame quarterback on the Giants roster this year throwing the ball. Wait, hold on. Wait, don't tell me. I'll get it. Hold on. The Hall of Fame quarterback, the Giants. That's right. I forgot they don't. So that makes it even more impressive, right? I mean, you got Drew Brees throwing you the ball compared to Tim Boyle, Daniel Jones, Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, and Drew Lock. So, what these guys did was pretty impressive. Obviously, our offensive line was in a shambles almost all season. The first 4 or 5 games or so, whatever, we actually started the same lineup, which is unbelievable. Then, of course, then the wheels started falling off, and then the car just spun out of control and into the gully and caught on fire and engulfed in flames, and everybody died. It just went out of control after that. But I mean, so what Malik and Tyrone Tracy were able to do this season, over 1,000 all-purpose yards, is pretty impressive with this offensive. That pathetic offense that we have is pretty pathetic. Now, obviously Tracy, 5th round pick, very good. A good running back. You saw what he was able to do kind of early on, right? He broke. When we had our offensive line relatively intact with Andrew Thomas there, right? He broke a few of them, right? Obviously, he hasn't been breaking that many. He had a 40-yard run last week against the Colts. But other than that, you look at the rest of his rushes against the Colts, I think he had like 19 carries for like 19 yards, right? So he had that one long run, but he could benefit certainly from a better offensive line. But you can see when we have good offensive line play, like earlier on in the season when we had Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, GVR, Illuminor, when those guys were playing as a unit, our Fab Five, right? You saw Tracy, had some nice runs. Of course, and Tracy didn't even start early in the season, too. It wasn't until I think Singletary got hurt, Tracy started, and Tracy had some good runs. But I mean, I just wanted to point this out. It's just a fantastic 202 receptions. I didn't think the Giants would quite maybe get there because, I mean, to get to 202, they were going to, between Wandale and Malik Nabers, they were going to need like about 14 receptions or just to tie. And I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get that or not, but they did. I mean, Wandale came up with 10 receptions and Malik had 6. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive, especially for the absolutely pathetic offense the Giants have. And the quarterback play, we had 4 different quarterbacks play. There's nobody going to a Super Bowl. Nobody, right? With the amount of different offensive line starting formations that the Giants have had 10 different starting offensive line combinations. Nobody's going to Super Bowl there. And having 4 quarterbacks play. Not happening. I mean, you can look at Drew Lock was, basically, I mean, he got passed over. So Drew Lock was almost like our 3rd string quarterback, right? Let's give the Eagles Tanner McKee, okay? And we'll wipe out the Eagles offensive line and give them 10 different starting units, and let's see if they can go to a Super Bowl. Not happening. Sorry, not happening. But I just wanted to point that out. They did a fantastic job. And, I mean, one of the things that, that between the two, right? Between those two, what you certainly want to look at is, when you're playing this bad and everything like that, you want to look something to look forward to for the future, right? And there are obviously there's some bright spots here. Let's see what we can bring in, obviously in free agency. Let's see what free agents actually want to come here. But let's see what kind of a draft we get and all that. And maybe we can, once again, try to get excited for the following season, drink some of the Kool-Aid, only to get disappointed again next year. But, we do need a quarterback. That's big. So, but, Mayo was the first to go. And so they will be the second. No, we'll have to wait and see. We'll find out. Time will tell. John Murray, he did say, but this was, came out publicly and said it, right? He said, I think it was back in October, wants to keep these guys, October and November, wanted to keep the 2 around, Shane and Dable, But, of course, that was a couple months ago. Since then, we've endured some pretty tough losses on the season here. Like, after he came out and said it, we obviously we lost this game here, but we lost 30-7, 35-14, 34-7. Then we lost here. We lost 17-7 to the Bengals. We lost 28-3 to the Eagles. Then we had some tough losses in there. You know, the 7-point loss to the Cowboys, the 3-point loss to the Saints, 3-point overtime loss to the Panthers, the 5-point loss to the Commanders. You know, so we had a lot of tough losses in there. But I mean, at one point we were actually 2-3. 2-3. We wound up 3-14. So we were 1-11 out of our final 12 games. We were 1-11. We didn't exactly have. I mean, if you look at the schedule, we played the Colts, we played the Falcons. Right? We got blown out by them. We played the Saints, who were not very good. We played the Cowboys, who had a losing record. We played the Bucs. We got blown out by the Bucs. Right? We lost to the Panthers. Let's see here. Yeah, we lost to the Bengals by 10 points. We beat the Seahawks. But so we had some winnable games in there. So it's going to be interesting to say, what Mara starts to think about the situation here. So got a couple articles here. One of his over and out fates of Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, and the Giants owners is in the Giants owners' hands. Is the article going to pop up? I guess not. There was an article here. I guess not. And there's something we can read. I had an article. No, okay. Maybe it was it. Brian Daboll is going to fight for his job, just as he did 3 years ago when the opportunity to become the head coach of the Giants was within his reach. What Daboll was not going to do in the aftermath of the Giants' season-ending 20-13 loss to the Eagles was take to the podium inside Lincoln Financial Field, interview room, and campaign for our benefit. Nope. Not the reporters assembled, including yours truly, not a significant part of a fan base that has lost faith in the direction the Giants are headed, both before Daboll and General Manager Joe Schoen got here and since they have been in command, especially not after a 3-14 campaign, one of the worst in franchise history, came to a merciful end on Sunday. Make no mistake, Daboll believes he deserves to remain the head coach of this team and will try to convince Giants co-owner John Mara and Steve Tisch at some point soon. But as his preference, he will do so behind closed doors for an audience of 2 or 3 if there is any question about how Shane might be feeling with regard to the partnership and vision going forward, providing he earns the right to stay as well, which is true. Now, one thing, Daboll was talking, Brian Daboll on his future, you do the best job you can do it. Daboll deflects on whether or not he will be back next season. Now, it's a little different because you remember Judge, after his final game, remember one of the reporters asked him about why he should stay or whatever like that, and Judge just went off on like a 10 or 11 minute, 9, 10, 11 minute rant on why he thinks he should stay. He's like, I don't see players fighting on the sideline and this and that. And he just went on and on and on and on and on. And he just basically just wrote his own death warrant right there. He should have just kept it, kept it to a 5-word answer or whatever, or something like that. And just, but he just went on and on and on. And he signed his own pink slip, basically. I mean, oh my goodness. But Daboll did not do that. He kept things close to the vest there, right? What does the future hold for the Giants head coach Brian Daboll after a 3-14 season? Now the thing is, it's been getting worse. Somehow 9-7-1. We're like, oh my God, you might be onto something here. But then it went to 6-11 and now 3-14. It's like we're going backwards here, guys. It's like, what the is going on? So. Has Daboll gotten an indication if he will be back for a 4th season? Well, Dable and ownership talk. We talk all the time. We sit down and have a conversation. Has he previously discussed his status with co-owners John Mara and Steve Tisch? I speak to Steve and John all the time. After the game, we'll sit down tonight, tomorrow, and we'll have a conversation. Has he gotten assurances he will be back? If he got assurances, maybe he will be back. Maybe, some of those things that he did that were a little maybe questionable was where people were kind of, because there was one article that got written that said the Giants were trying to throw the game like in the first half. So maybe he tried to help throw the game where the Giants wound up losing. He put some players in there, I think, that didn't get a lot of playing time. He just wanted to get some guys some reps in there and stuff like that and everything. So maybe he got an assurance that he's coming back. So it's like, hey, let's keep that draft pick, kind of low, right? Let's keep it in the top 3 or 4, right? Right? Yeah, maybe he got assurance he's coming back, right? The one thing is that you can say is that they never had their quarterback, right? The problem, right, is that when will they get their quarterback? If they're still around, when? Is it going to be in the draft? Or are they going to get a bridge quarterback? Now, if you get a bridge quarterback, is a bridge quarterback your quarterback? I don't think so. He's a torch holder. He's holding the torch for the official quarterback to come in and lead the Giants into the 21st century for the next 10, 15 years. But, how many more years can Shane and Dable be around, waiting for their quarterback? So, it's, right? Or the Giants going to go out and maybe grab a quarterback in the second round, like maybe a Jalen Milroe. Right? Maybe grab if he's available. Who knows? Right? Or one of these other guys, maybe the second Ewers or whatever. Right? But they're running out of years. Right? If they do draft a quarterback in this draft, right? That to develop, right? That should give them like at least 2 years. Right? Get the guy, develop him a little bit, and hopefully put him out there either next season, halfway through next season, or whatever, and then the following season and see where you're at, because then you had your quarterback. So the thing is, it's not a fantastic crop of quarterbacks coming out. Unlike when Josh Allen from the Bills came out, he was he got taken I think 7th overall, right, and he wound up he was all that and a bag of Doritos. He was that good. Right? If there was a Josh Allen out there, or they think they can draft him, right, number 3, right, and turn that Josh Allen into a superstar like Josh Allen is, right? Well, they might be onto something, but you don't know. You just don't know. Let's see here. So I've got a good relationship with the Mara family, the Tisch family. Joe Shane will go through that process. Has Shane given Dable any indication of his future? Those conversations will be private, but there's good communication. Would he prefer a quick decision from ownership? We'll sit down like we normally do, have our conversations, and go from there. Is he concerned about his future with the Giants? No. Look, you do the best job you can. Again, I'd say we have good conversations. 3 wins is not good enough, so a lot of work needs to be done. Yes, it does. That is absolutely sure. But there's obviously there's a lot of coaching opportunities. There's the Jets, the Bears. I think the Saints. I know I'm forgetting. Obviously the Patriots. I can't remember. There's somebody else. I'm sure there is. I'm just not remembering offhand. But but May was the first one to fall. Obviously, they call tomorrow Black Monday for a reason. So there's more, at least a couple more that are going to go. The thing is, obviously, the sooner the season ends, the sooner you can start going out there and looking, for Mike Vrabel, somebody like that. You can't go out and talk to, I can't remember the guy's name, the offensive coordinator for the Lions until they're out of the playoffs, right? So some of those guys, might still be off limits, but if you're looking from maybe a Vrabel or somebody who might be, I even saw Pete Carroll. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I saw a report that he was interested in the Bears job. So who knows? He's kind of getting up there a little bit in age, so I don't know. But I mean, if the sooner you get rid of your coach, if you're going to, right, the sooner you can start looking for guys that are available right now, right? And I said that's the same thing with the Giants, right? If they're going to get rid of Dable, right, sooner you can do that and start going out there looking is it's good for the Giants. So other than that, I said if you're waiting for one of these guys, for one of these coordinators for one of these teams, obviously one of these good teams that are actually in the playoffs, you're going to have to wait. So but there'll be a lot of candidates out there, obviously, and there always are. But so far, Mayo's gone, and he's just one, probably quite a few more are going to want to fall before the next few days are over. But did Dable do enough this season? I mean, the injuries, totally decimated his team, right? The quarterback play or lack of quarterback play, that was another thing. He didn't have his quarterback. We were very competitive in some games. We lost a bunch of close games. But if good coaching and good play and all of that, you find ways to win a couple of those close games that we lost in the second. And we were 1-11. Right? What did I say? 1-11, I think it was. Because we were 2-3 at one point. Yeah, so we went 1-11 in our last 12 games. Right? I mean, that to me, that reminds me of the 73 season. We started off 1-0-1 and we finished 2-11-1. So we finished the 73 season. In our last 12 games, we were 1-11. Same thing here. Last 12 games, 1-11. Right? So, but I mean, good coaches can find ways maybe to win those games. We just weren't, those last 12, we just weren't able to, right? Some of them we got blown out, didn't look like we were on the field. And you want to look at the Eagle game here, right? Against their backups, and we wound up losing. So, did he do enough? Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. So, all right, guys, been 1 hour and 8 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah!